What's up, guys? So this is another members video for the guys over at TCM, and this is going to be a new thing that I'm going to introduce. I've not really heard it discussed too much. It's going to be a concept called it's hard resetting of essentially your reality, so to speak. If your reality is not one that essentially you want to continue to live down. See, reality is kind of in the eye of the beholder, so to speak. There are certain rigid laws of the universe, whereas if I jump off this, I'm on the 42nd floor here. If I jump off, I'm going to fall all the way down and I will eventually hit the ground. That's the truth. But the reality is still somewhat in the eye of the beholder. Certain things we're not very unlikely that me and you are living the same reality. So those are some of the rules, of course, are rigid and can't really be bent around, but others can. Essentially, if their life has become one that's unpleasant and it's unenjoyable, maybe you have a bad habit, maybe you have an addiction, maybe you have several, maybe you have a bunch of negative behavior that you're doing at the moment, maybe you have issues with women, you have a lot of issues with women in that essentially you keep getting rejected a lot, like you've got a pattern of rejection. That's why I say to guys, it's not this like PUA approach and guys running around and hitting on every girl that moves. Rejection compounds. That's the truth. That's another, I guess, truth of the universe. Rejection does compound. If nothing else, it compounds in a way that girls don't want to fuck someone if their friend rejected the guy. That's true. Like that. That's pretty. It's quite obvious of a thing to think about, but people don't really think like that. So being rejected for every chick that rejects you, that's like losing like three or four on top of that, probably more. Because then if you eventually go on a date with one and they're like, oh, or they show the Instagram to their friends and they're like, I knocked this guy back, or I did this, or I did that. A little bit less drilling to have that happen in like online or something like that. It's a little bit more explainable if you IG DM a chick and she just ignores it. But if you're running around hitting on people in person, it's also a bad energy. Like no one likes to be rejected. It's something that in the old tribal days, there's something that stuck around from those times because to be rejected, it damages your reputation. It's true. Like if you walk up to a chick and you hit on her and it's a tribal environment, there's probably not a lot of women and she knocks you back. You could have problems from that. Like you might not get fucked by anyone in that point of view. Instead of shooting a shot with something that was more intended for you, see what's for you shouldn't be so difficult. That's the truth of the world. What's for you shouldn't be something that you're just constantly trying to raise the interest on. See, a lot of guys are like that. Like they're really conditioned to that. They're conditioned that to like constantly try to raise a chick's like caring level, the level of which she gives a shit about you. They're trying to always like boost her levels up. They come in and she's not really caring. She's pretty flaky. She doesn't reply to your messages straight away. She's kind of like a little bit distant. You're trying to set a date and she's flakes once or she just doesn't really reply. She's not really that excited or keen for it. She asks you where you want to take her as though she only really cares if you take her somewhere like ultra nice. You say, oh, I want to go to a coffee shop or I want to go to, lunch or something. And she's kind of like, ugh, I only want to go to like Nobu or like one of the nicest sort of restaurants. And that's in itself, it's a red flag. That's not someone who's for you. What's for you in life is actually not as hard as they say it is. It should be pretty quite easier to get, a lot easier to get. Like your highest life path should be with a lot less friction than people would believe. The friction can be a thing that takes you there because you learn all of the lessons. So when you arrive there, you've learned all of the hardships on the way. But a lot of people, trauma and the damage breaks them along the way. Like, I mean, I got to where I got, and I've gone a very like diverted route to get there. But most of the route that I did would kind of destroy everyone to get there. So, it's not a way that is optimal probably for you to get there. It's better to get there with no friction. But building off this sort of a thesis that I have and a theory is that I think the observer effect is real, and what you focus on, you get more of. I think the brain itself is a multiplier. Whatever you focus on, it creates your reality based on the input that it's receiving, based on what it sees that you're focused on. Whatever you're focused on, it tries to give you more of, whether you know it or not. Your subconscious is always pulling in information. That's why I always tell guys like have an example of the girl that you want. Like what sort of girl do you like? You'll know when you're getting like, your manifestation or your mind power, or essentially your focus is getting better and better because you start to see more of the same girl. The same girls as the one that you actually want. You start to see more of them around. Maybe you're not on more of them that you're dating them yet, but they start to begin to get into your proximity. That's real. Like that is a truth that's another, I would say, universal law of the world, is that what you focus on, you get more of, even if it's women that you actually. That's why it's good to focus on things that you want. It's good to have the pen and paper down and you write down your girl. Like, why do you like a specific type of girl? What qualities does she have? Is she like, feminine, submissive? She listens to you. She's like pleasant to be around. She's hot. What qualities do you like physically? Is she pretty thin or does she have curves? It depends what you like. Do some guys like girls even like a bit chubby or something? What do you like? Well, that's why you're never going to get exactly what you want when you have a scatter gun. Like if you're on the machine gun turret and you're just spraying the whole room, it's very unlikely that you're going to get exactly what you want. That's the truth. Because you're not telling your subconscious, but you're also not showing the universe. Like it's giving you a bunch of options and you're kind of like lost in everything. You're not like refined down. The best way to be with women is like a sniper, of course. It's the, you have a target and you focus on it. And it doesn't mean that you're always going to get the girl that you want. She can still reject you and things like that. But it's better to be rejected by one girl that is a girl that you want, because you can also find out why she rejected you. See, that's now feedback. Like you're getting feedback that's actually related to you. You're not getting feedback of what some like fucking chick that you don't really give a shit wants. Because if you have like, oh, I'm going to hit on this chick. I wouldn't take her serious. She's nothing special. And then she tells you that she's not interested. You're like, that's pointless, because you're getting feedback of a chick that's not your type of girl or something that you would want. So the feedback and information is kind of irrelevant, because how you're going to treat a girl that girls have like the types are different. You always want feedback of like customer acquisition. You always want the feedback of your dream customer. Like you want to see what they're doing, because then you can replicate it. You can get more of it. So that's the humor and the things that we understand in business. We understand such logic, but then in day to day, we don't get that sort of an idea. Like have you ever sat down and written down the types and qualities and attributes and things that you want from a girl? Have you ever had an ex where you've focused on it and written down the things that are good about it, but also written down the things that were negative about it, so that in your head you don't have it have your rose-colored glasses on, that you think back and you're like, she was perfect, I want her back so bad, because no one's perfect. That's the truth of it. If anyone's perfect to you, you just didn't know them. And if anyone's perfect to you, you just don't know yourself. Like that's it. You're still living like in high school. Some people still think their dad is like, my dad can beat up everyone. My dad could beat up like Randy Couture. There's guys that generally think stupid stuff like that. It's that's dumb. You got to see people as they are. Doesn't mean that he's not your hero, but he's still a human. Like he's still a person. He's just a man, so to speak, as I am. But that's the truth of the matter. So yeah, you have to get the pen and paper out. You have to write down, if you want a certain girl, write down her qualities, attributes, qualities that you want. What's your dream girl look like? Maybe you like brunettes, blondes. What do you like? Like, can you get fucking actually bring it into the physical? Because it's mental. It's spiritual. You have an emotion attached to it, but when you bring it into the physical, you've written it down. It exists. It's in the fucking ether. Now it's something that you'll actually have, like you've manifested something real. You've taken something from your mind and put it into the ether. I'm writing a book at the moment, and the book is like, I'm seeing so many like synchronicities of everything's happening, because I've been writing this book down. And when you write a book that's your life story, it's very like someone's saying it's emotional and that you're crying, but it's an emotional thing. It's emotional to look back at things from like 20 years ago. It's emotional to look back on old phones and things and look back and see everything that I ever wanted, I got. Everything that I ever envisioned, I have, or I had. I've already passed, so to speak. And then you realize that you have to step into the next dream. You have to still keep your ambition up. Because the worst thing that can happen is you get your goals and you're living on their success or the wins of yesterday. You're not focused on the wins of the future. So that's the idea and things that I'm coming about, is that that is a real, really, really, really real thing. And I know that some people won't believe it, and they won't believe it till they do it. See, that's the thing where people who write down their goals, it's like they're 2 or 3 times more likely to succeed with them. That's what they've done studies on that. If you write them, just writing down your goals, you're multiples more likely to actually hit them, because you've brought it into the physical. That's why they don't understand. It's not just the act of writing, although that is powerful too. It's you've brought it into the physical world. Like it exists. It's in the ether. It was just an original thought in your mind, and now it's actually something that physically exists. You've written it down. You can see it. You can look at it. You can reflect on it. You can actually find a route to get to it. It's something that exists. That's a true thing. And that's the general consensus of this video. Like, if you're in a shitty position or you're in a shitty position, that's why monk mode works. This is a similar concept. Monk mode works in that you essentially isolate yourself from things that are negative and you lock into something else that's positive. Yeah, monk mode works if you're like, some of us can be completely lost in whores. Like we're just completely lost in the source with chicks. Like we're just like, we have like talking to like 5 or 10 girls, and then in the heart of hearts, you know that like none of them are suitable and none of them really care. Like it's all, you know that if you didn't really talk to them for like a week or two, you'd probably lose half your girls. That's true. It happens to me as well. Or maybe you don't lose them, but you know that it's very unlikely that they're not fucking anyone. They're going to do something, and that's the truth of it. You always have to be honest with yourself. But yeah, getting lost in the source, or you're lost in negativity, or you have a bad habit. Maybe you have a bad habit. You have a drug habit. Maybe you have a habit of gambling. That's very common. And then you need to essentially cut off the people around you that are doing that specific behavior. It's the same thing that I had when I was in prison. So I was in prison, had 6 years. I got out. I was on parole, and then I had to cut off my prison friends. I had to cut them off. Doesn't mean that they're not my friends, but I had to cut them off because I realized that if I was to keep talking to them, I would be back in prison. That's true. That would eventually, something would happen. I've heard stories of people, their friend would come and see them in a stolen car. Their friend would do something to them in some way to include them in some sort of crime, even if it was by mistake. Because then the person shows up to your house, the police see that you're still hanging around with criminals because they survey people. And then they think, well, fuck you, you're probably committing crime. Let's just breach your parole and lock you back up. So that's it, right? Like birds of a feather flock together. If you want to change your life, you're going to become the people that you're around. It's true. Specifically, more so, I think even more so for guys, because women can change. They can be one way and then a week later with the new group and change completely. Guys are much more rigid, but they do still change. So that's the concept, is a hard reset. I think that guys, monk mode is a fucking real thing. Monk mode is what I was in when I was on parole, because I cut off all my prison friends, and I didn't really have any friends when I was on parole. I didn't really have any friends. I didn't have friends, so many. And then I had one of my friends who got out of prison, and he borrowed like $50,000 off me, and then he was probably my best friend, and then he just disappeared. He just essentially stole like 50,000 from me and vanished. Told me that he needed it for, he had some problem, and he's like, I need it fixed, and it'll be like a week and I'll pay you back. And he didn't ever pay me anything back. He just vanished. But then it just reinforced my belief that I was meant to be away from those people. See, those are the things that the universe and things can push in front of you, and you need to learn that lesson. That's true. And whether it's, the same saying is like God itself, or the universe, or your subconscious, whatever it is that you believe in, faith is real. You have to cut off the old you to become the new you. If you're like, God helps, or you're subconscious, I believe it's subconscious as well. It's always observing. It's in the back, and it's always seeing what you're doing. It sees if you're serious. See, a lot of people think that they want their they want their cake and to eat it as well. Or I just want a sure thing. Like, tell me if I lose these friends that are degenerates or like complete losers, that my life will be 10 times better. And it doesn't work like that. Like, you have to take a leap of faith. You have to cut off yourself. And some people think like they have FOMO. Oh, I don't want to not go to parties because what's the upside? Is it a sure thing that if I stop going to these parties that my life's going to be multiples better? Am I going to get to these goals that I don't even have written down? Those sort of ideas are genuinely real things. And that's true. That's the same saying I say, we have to be the change you want to see in the world. If you want essentially new things, you have to become that guy that deserves it. It's true. That's a really real thing. Guys say they want a wife, but they're just hanging around with whores nonstop. I'm looking for a good girl and this and that, but yeah, I'll still bang chicks on Tinder whenever I want, and a lot of them are whores, and I know they're whores, but I still fuck them and just lead them on or something like that. And that's not to say that you shouldn't fuck if you want to fuck, but you gotta heat phases of your life. Like, what's more important to you? Is it important to you to be rich? Well, then why do you fuck around when you go home? Like, are you focused on a side income? Like, are you focused on leveling up a certain skill? Do you have dreams to work remote and be able to work online? But are you actually building a business, or are you building knowledge that you'll be able to work online and scale it into some product? Are you launching something, be able to do something online where you can work remote? Are you or are you just have dreams that have they're just a dream, they don't have any real route to get there? You've taken zero actual action. A dream and a vision and things like that, it's only something when you actually start to move in that direction. That's true. But again, writing it down and writing down your goals is the first step. Like taking a pen and paper, I always say, take a day off, or maybe not a day off work, but whatever you have. Take the day off distractions, no texting, no girls, no shit, and then just see what comes up and actually start to write down your dream, your thoughts and your plan and your action and what you want. Because a lot of people, what they want is only based on like their, I want to get rich because I'm going to impress a chick. This chick doesn't want to be with me, but if I had a Lamborghini, she would. So I want a Lamborghini. Like their stuff is completely external. Like they want validation from the external instead of I want to, I want to have a good family. So I realize that I need to be a good man. I want to have a family and a wife, or like maybe I want a good relationship. So I have to, be able to provide and protect. I have to actually become a man to get that. A lot of people too, they think that they're going to get a traditional setup while also not being traditional, and that doesn't really work. Like it doesn't work, or it doesn't work over the long term. So that's the idea of the hard reset. Like take the pen and paper out, write down negative things that you want to get rid of, like that you're doing, negative behaviors. Maybe just sit home and watch Netflix for like 10 to 12 hours fucking nonstop. Like you're watching it for a long time. You're playing video games for a long time. You're fucking around. You need to reset out of that and actually just stop doing it. That's true. But any negative habit you have to replace with a positive one. Positive habit can be work. Monk mode is a real thing. It does work. It's true. Monk mode, or essentially, like I would say, it's essentially like a reset of your life is important. A lot of people need to do that. I wouldn't say going through one entirely now, but I am somewhat. I'm going through a phase of less partying, which is a big thing for me, and less, more focused on what I want into the future. Since I've been writing this book, since my iboga and all of these kind of realizations that I've had, actually, what next phase is for me, and that's the thing that I'm enjoying, and I'm actually coming to like it. But again, you can't tell people to do this if you're not doing that. So that's what I'm going through myself to essentially do it and reset some things for myself because I want to step into the next life for me. I've had a few life deaths in my life, and that's what I would call a reset. See, I was doing this thing where I reflected on every life that I've had that was kind of like it ended in a death, like it ended in catastrophe. I had my Counter-Strike phase. I had my army phase. I had my street phase, my crime phase. I had my party phase, and I would say everyone ended in a death of me to some point. And that's fine. Like that's what life is about. But you have to know when it's over, and you have to know when to step into the next part of life, the next shoes, the next part of growing. My transcendence is to become the teacher, so to speak. I teach you guys as well, and I know that some of you guys will be teachers yourselves into the future. But I like to teach at scale, but also these information and things that you're learning and things that you're closing off, you're going to be able to pass down to your kids because that's the best lesson, is that you're doing it yourself. You've learning the process because you're actually going to be the one doing it. So then when you have kids or you have things your own, people around you or friends, you can actually show them the process. And that's it. It's not just something where we just like, I just tell you guys to copy me, or we start some little fucking group of like weirdos. It's again, there's no point we have our own culture or something like that, and it doesn't get on with the outside world because what we have here, we have to be able to deliver men that can do well on the outside, because the outside is still it's still reality, right? Like it's still we have to deliver to the outside. That's it. That's why I'm scrubbing you guys up to be the best versions of yourself. But all of the work has to be done, internally with those things. Like it has to be done, again, pen and paper, write down the negative things that you're going through. Like maybe it's gambling, drugs. Maybe it's just you don't have enough girls. Maybe it's you don't have enough money. Maybe it's I have a bad relationship with my mum and dad, or a bad relationship with a friend. I'm stuck in the past because of this. I'm getting fat. All of these things that you have to focus on. Maybe my health is shit, and I know that I should be more focused on it, but I'm not. Maybe it's I'm stuck in some negative self-talk behavior. Like I just continually stuck in a loop, like of things where I tell myself that I don't deserve anything. Some of you have a bad relationship with money. You think that people that have money are bad, or that if you had money in some way, it would make you bad. And then in turn, you're not going to get money because you're going to consistently find a way to fuck it up. That's true. That's the thing. You have to close off all of that stuff, which again is pen and paper, identifying all of the things and the thoughts and the behaviors and things that control you, negative thoughts, and then writing down essentially what it is that you want. Like what's your best you? What's your best self? Can you envision it? Can you actually make it physical? If you could draw yourself at your best and strongest, is it possible? Like what are these attributes and qualities of the man that you want to become? Is he strong? Is he fun? Is he funny? Is he cool? Is the guy that everyone wants to be? Or you don't want that? Is it just, you want to be pretty quiet, but still strong and confident and capable and all of these things, because everyone wants something different. But we're still, if you can actually envision it and write it down, it becomes real. You actually have a goal. Like imagine that your subconscious is a silent observer. It actually sees some data now that it can use instead of data that you're absorbing, which is shit. Like you're absorbing crap of like guys that are really loud online and bombastic and just say a bunch of fucking garbage to you guys, like telling you guys that women are all whores and that love is not, you can't find love in the 20, this year's love is over. That's all crap. Like that's just hardened, damaged guys that are saying that. Love is fucking everywhere. Like this is truly it. The loveless cannot find love. That's true. But again, that's why you don't want to become like a hardened shell, because you can't essentially you can't give love, but you can't receive it either. That's the truth. Again, loving is takes a lot of balls. It's the highest vibration, yes, and it's the best feeling. But it also takes a lot to love something that you could lose. Some people, like loving a dog is hard for them because they remember that their last dog died, and they're like, I'm scared to get attached because my dog, like when it died, it crushed you. Some guys is the same, where they're like scared to love a girl because the last one left them. Scared to love parents because their parents were probably, like, not all, but some were kind of shitty. So they're like, the last people that I really loved fucked me over in some way. So now I just don't really do that. But again, that's not a optimal way to live. We're not in like the caves. We're not running around the caves anymore. You don't have like a saber tooth chasing you. Like I know a lot of people want to make you believe that, because it's when you're fearful, you're a great customer. That's the best thing. But it's not. That's not true. Like it's not actually true. And that sort of mindset, fear, is not going to actually get you anywhere that you want to go in life. Being fearless is still maybe a little bit too extreme, but you can still be cautionary. But that doesn't mean that you still don't progress. You still have to progress forward, because a lot of the lessons are learnt through the slap in the face moments. I can teach you this till I'm blue in the face, but till a girl that you love leaves you, and maybe it doesn't happen to you, and good for you if it doesn't. But till that sort of stuff happens, it's going to be completely different. But that's the parts of life that actually like make you get the shades to you, so to speak. Like they're the ones that actually build layers about you. And when you sit and talk to a guy, you know that he has layers as well. Like he's actually been through something, instead of the other extreme where people are kind of vapid. Like they're kind of, oh, I don't try, or I don't care, I don't want this, or I don't want that, because they live pretty normal, like normally kind of crappier lives. They don't really have any good connections. The connection is very important. Life itself with people is about people, in my view, and connections are a big part of it. So again, writing down the things that you want to change in yourself, what you don't like, but actually writing down also what you do like. Because some of you have strengths, and your strengths can be massive strengths. That's the best part of a man. A man is the best men are good at like one or two things, like really, really, really good at one or two things, and that's enough. And then they can kind of like coast. Like someone's great at, I don't know, crypto or business or finance, or great at, I don't know, sales or marketing. And some other guy's great because he used to be an athlete and now he's super fit, and he can just coast on that kind of forever. And then he can also build up the other buckets, because one bucket he maxed out. He maxed out one bucket, and now he can just kind of like not really pay so much attention to that. It's easier to maintain when you've been very fit. If you've been a very good boxer, it's easy to be at least a pretty good boxer for the rest of your life. Like you've been a high level something, maybe you dedicated 2 years to it, and you've gotten pretty good. It's all very good. It's easier to maintain that versus the other person who's like just okay at everything, because now they're not like really that memorable at anything. They're not going to be amazing. It's if you're great at or maybe your money's amazing, or you can push your money to amazing. That's why I don't believe a lot of what people say, where the sort of shit that they push online is like it's bad to be rich young, or it's bad to be rich, or it's bad to make money, because you can be a money nerd, and people can be, but everyone who has money can learn at a much faster rate than people that don't. So money is kind of, I'm not saying the ultimate to make a man, but it's something that should be strived for, because even if it's not important to you, you can do a lot of things with money. Like most things, you can buy freedom with money, you can buy time back with money, you can look after others with money. It's kind of I wouldn't say the ultimate that makes the person, but it's a big one. So it's very important to focus on. And again, this monk mode, like reset concept, is part of what I would believe. It's the universe and your subconscious that gives it to you, but maybe it actually is God. Like God sees that you cut off all of the shit that was holding you back. Like you've got vines behind you and you're like cutting them all off. Like you've got a big anchor tying you down, and you finally cut it off. And then you look up and you're like, but now I'm alone. Like I've lost all of my friends because I realized that they only want to hang out with me if I'm partying. I realized all of these chicks only want to hang out with me if I'm in the club popping bottles. I realized that, oh, when I tell my girl that I'm busy working, she doesn't want to be with me anymore. Like she's actually wants to break up with me. She was only with me because she wanted to go out all of the time. When I tell her I'm focused on another project of mine, she says, oh, no, I want to go to dinner now. And now you have a realization that you're with someone that doesn't really value you progressing, like doesn't really care what you want. And that's the part of it. Like now you've come to a realization that actually this probably isn't going to work, and that's fine. Like that's the nature of the game. Some people, again, like you've just can lose friends because they only liked you if you were essentially fun and available. And now you're a bit busier. You're trying to focus on you, or you're trying to level up. They don't like that. Either they don't like it in that they want to hold you back because they're like, "Don't change, bro. Like don't change," or you think you're better than us now, or you think like I've seen guys where a guy will lose weight, and he used to be a fatty, and then he loses weight, and others who are fat around him are like, man, you're changing. You think you're better than us and all of these things because you're shining a light on their inadequacy, like their insecurity, because in their head, they're like, as soon as you start doing it, they can't hide from it anymore. It's easier that they get you out of the circle and paint you as a villain because then that you shine a light on them that it was possible. Some people will follow, but many people won't. That's true. And the phases of life are often you have to lose the friends. See, people don't realize that some. I know that because I've been in very low positions before. But the people that you came with often aren't the people that you stay with. That's kind of a like not from ground zero to the end. Like if you have high school friends and you think that they're broke and they don't have shit and you become like a multi-millionaire and now you're hanging out together, that can work sometimes, but most times it won't. It doesn't work most of the time because you just drift in different directions. Some of them get married, some of them stay single. It's just too many things change. It's easier to be with people that are essentially still on the same path. If you change your friendship circle, not entirely, but like every few years is fairly not that uncommon. I have the crew and things like that, but it took a long time to get to friendship circles. I've had many over my lifetime, and that's fine. It's not, you should always stay with the people in the moment that got you there, but to say the saying that you're just going to be loyal to people forever, even if you're going in different directions is not the best. You don't want people standing side by side with you if you're too different. Like if you're going in different directions, if they're like in any way envious of you, if any way they hold you back at all, like you're again not showing the universe, God, whatever it is that you're serious, because you're again surrounding yourself by people who don't have what you want. The observer effect is real. It changes the process. What you focus on, you get more of. That's true. So if you surround yourself with abundance and people who have what you want, you're probably much more likely to get it. That's true. You guys will get it if you actually focus on it. That's true. Actually start surrounding yourself with prosperity. Surround yourself less with that's why I've been saying for a while, don't watch like Fresh and Fit. Like don't watch guys fighting with women because you're going to, in your head, replicate that. You're going to get busted chicks around you. It's what you're going to see, going to get more of it. You're absorbing like passive damage. Don't focus on shit like, some people focus really on political crap. And I know it sucks because it's current, but that's a distraction. Like it's a boiling pot, so to speak. Doesn't matter what side you're on, left or right wing, like you're still boiling in the same pot, like you're still in it. You don't have any control of it. You can't decide who's going to be president tomorrow. You can't decide them to cut immigration tomorrow. They decided to do it. They have a plan. There are no left and right wings. They have a plan, a bigger vision and bigger bosses, and they have a centralized bosses at the top that are trying to create their own vision for the world here. And that's beyond our control. All we can do is control ourselves and actually, continually move in the direction what we want. But to move in the direction we want, we have to make it written down and make it physical and make it real. And that's a thing that we have to do, right? Because as I've been writing my book, dealing with all of the emotions and shit that come up, and some are fun, some are funny, some are sad. I've had friends in there that have died. Some are cool. It's nice to look back and think, oh, I was here and now I'm here. But the game never ends. It doesn't end. Like I say, like our life is a book of many chapters, some good, some shit, some painful beyond what we can remember, and some we think that it's just so perfect. Sometimes you're looking at a sunset with a chick, you're on your own, you've got friends, and you think, could I just pause that moment? Sometimes I've had moments with girls that I'm looking at or a friend or something, and I'm like, this was like I could be taken away today. Like, I feel so good that if something happened, if the fucking Earth got hit by a meteor now, it is what it is. You know, I feel like I'm complete. And then I've had other times, even if it's like a month later, where I'm like, everything's fucking horrible. You know, everything sucks. Even if it doesn't, it's just like you can have moments and times and things like that where it's just not that easy. And even me, a multi-millionaire, I still get moments like that. But that's what makes this a human experience. You know, how can you want anything different than to experience the full spectrum of emotions? Because life itself is great, and that's the saying. And I've introduced one to. It's a similar thing. Like, you know, imagine that you're on a train. The train that you're on is a party on the train. There's all of these people. There are all of these fun people that you see. Some are your friends, some aren't. Some are people you've just met. Some hot chicks. Some all of these things. The train is moving. It's one of those bullet trains. It's moving very fast, but it's going in the. But you also there. But you know it's going in the direction of the life that you don't want to live. Like, the life that you want to live is in another city. The exact opposite away from that. The life that you want to live is not sitting there drinking and partying and all of these things. The people that you're with, they're fun, but you don't want their life. Like, you look at them and you're like, these girls and guys are fun. They're really cool. And we have a big laugh together, but I wouldn't really want to be anyone here. Like, the girls here, I couldn't take any of these girls serious. But in your head, you're like, but it's still so fun. Like, it's fun to, you know, I'm a bit fucked up. I'm drinking. Everything's cool. The music's great. And then the train goes further and further away from where you're meant to be. And then you think, oh, I'm just going to stay on it for like another hour or two because my friend's here and he's cool. And I haven't seen this. Oh, so-and-so just got here and I haven't seen him in a while. This chick's an influencer and all of this shit. You know, she's hot. She's got good tits. She's talking to me. And then you drink more and more. And you always think, oh, I don't want to get, you know, FOMO. This is the last time, you know, I'll have this moment and then like I'll be good after that. I got some FOMO. I don't want to leave yet. But then eventually the train goes too far away and then you have to stop the train and then go back to your other destination. But the time is, you don't have enough time, so to speak. So that's your life. If you want a goal that's on the exact opposite of what you're doing, it's very unlikely that you're going to get to it. At some point, you have to pull the handbrake on that train, as painful as it is, and make that fucking walk back. And that's a walk back. And that's a walk back alone. And you have to make that hard transition where everyone will look at you and be like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, why the fuck would he leave the train? It's so fun here. He's what a stupid guy. He's missing out on all of this party. He's missing on. They calling you. You're making the walk back, and they start calling you, Steven, what? Why did you leave the train? Fucking so and so's here. This person's famous, and all of this shit's here. Man, just turn around and come back. You should come back. We can, you know, we'll stop here, and you just come back and see us and all of the shit. And you have to make that walk alone. And that's the truth of the matter. And the longer you go down that specific funnel, the funnel away from what you want, the much fucking harder it is to actually turn around and come back. It takes more balls. It'll take more out of you. It'll take more energy. Your energy will deplete the further that you go away from your goal. That's the truth. And that's it, lads. Till next time.